Thank you very much. Oh, sorry. Thank you very much. And first, I do apologize that I couldn't make it in person today. We have been struggling with some staff shortages, and our shelter has been incredibly busy. So here's where I am, but I am here at the shelter, and I'm happy to join you today. So first of all, thank you so much for inviting me to speak with you today and be a part of your gathering. In speaking to Anne and learning more about your fellowship, I believe we do share some of the same principles, as through our work, our mission is to provide a very safe and respectful and non-judgmental place, not only for the animals who come into our care, but also for people who come into our shelter seeking assistance through circumstances which typically are out of their control. It was really not until after COVID that when the world began returning to normal, or to the new normal, that we quickly began to see gaps, which, though we were aware of previously, had become much more substantial. Most notably, the amount of homeless people within our community who owned pets. And we've learned over the past year that approximately 5% of our homeless population within Lambton County are pet owners who live on the streets. And of that large number of homeless people, approximately upwards of almost 10% who are pet owners are living in housing situations that are temporary, such as couch surfing, living out of their cars, living in temporary makeshift shelters, if you may. So it's been quite an eye opener in the past year, as we've started to get a little more involved with our vulnerable community. So I just want to share a story with you, which I guess really started our work with homeless people, and in reaching out to our kind of partner organizations that we work with on a fairly regular basis in helping in this situation wherever we can. A shelter worker was on her way to work one morning, and she happened upon a homeless person who was pushing their cart, which was quite busted up, but very full of their personal belongings, and trying to navigate themselves over a curb. And they also had a very large dog attached to them. So she pulled over to offer assistance in helping him to navigate this. And in speaking with him, she quickly learned that he was moving himself from what he considered a safe space that he spent the night, which was outdoors, to an area in the city which many homeless people consider a safe day area, and that they do go to. In the short conversation that they had, she did recognize that his only concern was not for himself, not his living situation, not the fact that he himself had not eaten in a few days, but it was only for his canine companion. He didn't ask for help for himself, but he did ask for help for his dog. And this story is just one of many that we have encountered especially over the past year. And though, each person and each individual varies in their story, the one consistency in all of them is their commitment to their pet. It does share many similarities. And it was important for us to fully understand that relationship that they shared with their pet before we could actually find a way to help them. Helping the pet was the easy part for us. We had the ability to offer temporary emergency pet housing. We had the ability to offer food, bedding, and even vet care. And although greatly appreciated from most of them, it was not what they truly needed. For homeless people, as we've learned over the past year and in speaking to quite a few of them, living on the street can become so dehumanizing and such an isolating experience for them. Many of them do not have the support of family and friends. Um, and they go days, sometimes even weeks, without anyone even acknowledging their existence or showing any kind of compassion or kindness towards them. The constant presence of their pet, it offers them a support and almost a courage to get through each day. That pet becomes their confidant, it becomes their protector, it really becomes their lifeline. And taking care of their pet gives them a sense of purpose. And though as frightening as it sounds, and oftentimes many have shared with us that their pet is their stopping point to suicide or self-harm. So it's quite alarming, but it's the reality, and it's the reality of what we're seeing more and more of each and every day. So the question always remained is, how do we better support people experiencing homelessness with pets? We've seen many people come through our doors surviving in their journey of homelessness because of their pet and because of the love of their pet. And, you know, though we do not adopt out pets to homeless people, we do believe that those people that are homeless have just as much that should be afforded the same services and the same help and assistance that any pet owner should have, whether they're homeless or not. So we look to different things that we can offer, and we look to different organizations that can help us sort of help them. I look to, just to share another story, because it really kind of hit home to all of us, was and this happened last fall. We had a gentleman that actually came to our shelter, and he had a dog with him, and he sat outside of our shelter. He sat on the bench, and after some time, one of the staff members had come and said, there's this gentleman sitting out on the bench. He's been sitting out there for quite some time. So, we went out there, just one of us went out, to say hello and see if there was anything that we could do for him. And he quickly answered no. He was simply sitting with his pet. He was a little offensive, or I shouldn't say offensive. He was defensive, in that, he was just sitting on the bench, minding his own business, just sitting with his dog. And, we quickly recognized that, okay, he just needs a little bit of time, but we were pretty sure that he was there for help. So throughout the day, and this was a day long thing that happened. Throughout the day, staff would go out, whether they were going out for lunch, whether they were just going out on their break, and they started to engage with him, and they started to have a conversation with him. And within about 6 hours of conversing with us and, petting his dog and asking about his dog, he finally admitted to us that the reason that he was sitting on the bench was because he needed food for his dog. And he was frightened to come into our shelter because he believed, because he was homeless, we would take his dog. And, it's a stigma that's out there, that's shared by a lot of people in the public. And we get asked quite a bit about it, just in our work with homeless, of, if they can't afford a dog, how can they, then they shouldn't have one. And it's a stigma that we're really trying to educate people, and helping them to understand that, the dog, it's not the dog that is homeless, it's the person. And I think that's very important, that people be aware of that, and that they start to have those non-judgmental conversations. And like I say, that's just one story of so many that have come to us over the past year. We've had people, where it's taken us sometimes hours, and sometimes it's taken us days, even weeks, to have them finally accept help from us, and have them confident enough or trusting enough that we are not there to take care, or, to take control or to take ownership of that animal. That, our end goal is to truly get the help that they need, and so that their pet can stay with them. So, as I said, we've been starting to work with, many organizations, and it's been a real learning curve for us. And it's, we're used to placing pets in homes, not having, not having seen pets homeless. But we have quickly learned and discovered that the first step in helping is not in assuming what is needed, but in asking what is needed, and understanding what they need may not be what we think they need. We've quickly learned that in helping homeless pets, we must first assist in helping the person, because they truly are a bonded pair. One will not give up the other. The person that takes care of the pet, and that pet is taking care of that person. So removing that stigma surrounding homeless people and their pets through education has been vital in getting those key messages out there, and highlighting the human-animal bond to foster a shared connection between all pet owners. Service providers such as ourselves must also be diligent when we're providing homeless people with pets, to be aware of all the services that are there for them and that can be offered to them, such as our services of emergency pet housing, our food bank, veterinarians who are willing and able to help continue to keep their pets healthy and happy, groomers who offer services to people for low to no cost in ensuring that their pets' nails are clipped, or that they, perhaps, require a bath or some shaving just to keep them comfortable and to keep them healthy. So, even though current sheltering doesn't allow owners to bring pets in with them, it's our hope that as we continue to have that conversation with them, and that we can provide that shelter to their pets while they go get the help that they need. So, and looking at our partnerships with our community organizations and the newly formed, and I don't know if any of you are aware of the newly formed task force through the Sarnia Police, and their goal is basically, feet on the ground, and knowing, who those homeless people are and where they are, and what kind of services they can provide and what kind of help they can provide. And, I look back to the gentleman, with the dog who was, trying to navigate that curb with the big dog. Just through simple conversation with him, we were able to help him get the help that he needed through that new task force, and and change the course of his life. So, it's been very rewarding for us. It has been a lot of learning, a lot of trials and tribulations, and successes and some unsuccesses as well. But we can't deny the bond that we've witnessed with homeless people and their pets, when we've been working with them, and when we've been trying to help, because really our role is not to judge, but to help. And like I say, we've only been in it for really in it, I would say, for less than a year. But our goal now is to continue to develop the programs that we can offer, to perhaps one day, whether that be through partnership or just through advocacy, is to help some of these shelters who intake people to understand that people with pets, to understand that bond, and perhaps work towards a goal of providing shelter to both people and pets in the future. Oh, sorry. I'm a little dry in the mouth today. Um, just, sorry. Um, I guess just moving forward with this and coming to speak to you today, we're trying to get the word out there that, you know, for anyone who's struggling with, in a vulnerable situation or with homelessness, that they reach out and, that we are here to help people. We are here to, help them with their pets. We do offer that emergency housing. We do have those, those different experts available to us, not just with pet care, but also with, support for them. Whether that be through the Inn of the Good Shepherd, um, Canadian Mental Health Association, Women's Interval Home. I mean, we work with so many organizations, Blue Water Health, the Sarnia Police, and their new task force, just to help and to, will, it's a hard conversation. It's hard to convince them that, that we truly aren't going to keep their pet. We had a woman who actually was living out of her car with her 4 cats. And, the only reason we found out about it is because she actually started sleeping here at night at the shelter parking lot with her 4 cats. And I came into work early one day because I was going to be leaving to go out of town, for business. And so I had stopped in because I had forgotten something. And I actually seen the cats in the car. So I approached the car, woke her up, and she shared with me that she had been living in her car with her 4 cats for quite a few weeks. Um, and, when I started to share with her about, the Women's Interval Home or the Inn of the Good Shepherd, that there was housing available, she quickly dismissed even the idea, because she couldn't take her cats with her. And it became a relationship that took weeks to build, um, probably 6 to 8 weeks before we finally convinced her to allow us to take her 4 cats so that she could go into some house, she could get the sheltering that she needed and the help that she needed. And we would take care of her pets while she was there. And she was here every day to visit. And we encourage that with pet owners. We encourage them to come each and every day if they can come and spend time and visit and, take the dogs for walks, take the cats out. We'll provide a room and a space for you to sit safely and have those visits. And, after probably about 3 months, um, she was able to, get the housing that she needed, um, through different organizations that we work with. And she was able to come and get her cats back. And, it just, the connection that we see between these people and their pets, though we, sometimes our judgment gets in there a little bit, and, you wonder, what's best for the pet. When you see that bond, when you see that connection, when you see the lengths that people will go to keep their pet with them, it's just, it's unbelievable. It just, that human animal bond runs deeper than most of us can even imagine, when you see someone in such a vulnerable position, um, and those pets are truly their lifeline. So, it's something that we're continuing to work with. It's something that we're striving to, make it better and to come up with, more support and, hopefully down the road, some kind of housing that will provide for both pet and people. And, yeah, that's, it's one of our goals. It's one of our, one of those, big things that we recognize is needed in our community. And it's probably always been needed in our community, but it has really come to the forefront in the past year. And it only continues to grow. I mean, we get calls every day for assistance. And not just with homeless people, but with anyone, living below that poverty level. And um, we're here to help, and we want to be able to share that message, and reach as many people as possible, and help other organizations and groups and fellowships to help us spread that word and get involved. And let's stop turning a blind eye to these people, and let's bring them in and help and help their pets.